I think that Ryan Reynolds, Kate thinks Kate thinks he's super frenemy with me, or even just that he hates me. I could see him hating me. He was like horrifically mean to me, but to me.
Cathartic.
As if I'm Weasel.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So he was like, you know what's great about you, Weasel? You're not the star. But you just, you do just enough exposition that it's funny, and then we can leave and get back to the real movie. So he's ripped.
They appear to have publicly buried the hatchet, but word reaching us indicates that there's still simmering tension between Ryan Reynolds and his Deadpool co-star, TJ Miller. On screen, the duo have an infectious chemistry that propels the plot of the movie, but off screen, the situation between the two is bad. What happened to the once great friends who now can't stand each other?
Because he's so good at Deadpool, and I think it's weird that he hates me.
TJ Miller was the first to publicly spill the beans about his sour relationship with Ryan Reynolds, which set the internet on fire. His confession was discussed for weeks, with many fans bashing him for not pursuing a private meeting with his co-star to iron out their differences instead of bringing it to the public. However, little did we know that TJ Miller was trying to send us a message. What cryptic message was he trying to communicate to us?
And then the character, he was like horrifically mean to me. But to me.
Cathartic.
As if I'm Weasel.
Of course, TJ Miller's outburst elicited a response from Ryan Reynolds, which led to more tension between them. The pair had to slug it out in a private meeting before tempers were calm and normalcy restored. But have the actors really resolved their differences? Or is it all for the cameras? I've got all the hot tea on this one. So grab a chair as I serve you.
I think that Ryan Reynolds, Kate thinks Kate thinks he's super frenemy with me, or even just that he hates me. I could see him hating me.
Many fans were thrilled when the first Deadpool movie came out. It was as they expected. The script, acting, comedy, action, directing, camera work, and everything was on point. No wonder the movie was a major hit across the globe and a box office success, raking in over $780 million on a $58 million budget. What stood out for many fans and critics was the on-screen chemistry between TJ Miller and Ryan Reynolds. The two actors' quips and wisecracks kept audiences glued to their screens. Their on-screen dynamism was awesome. So many thought that it would naturally translate into their off-screen relationship. Thus, many fans were shocked when TJ Miller confessed that their relationship off-camera wasn't as cordial as we had imagined.
I think that Ryan Reynolds, Kate thinks Kate thinks he's super frenemy with me, or even just that he hates me. I could see him hating me.
TJ Miller's confession started a short-lived media war between the two actors, which was later resolved. However, his outburst affected his marketability as fewer movie companies were willing to give him a shot. However, in all this, TJ Miller appeared to have been sending a cryptic message that many fans might have missed. He told the podcast host that Ryan Reynolds was mean to him while they were on set, treating him like he was a nobody. Miller said, "As the character, he was horrifically mean to me as if I'm Weasel. So he was like, you know what's great about you, Weasel? You're not the star, but you do just enough exposition so that it's funny, and then we can leave and get back to the real movie." Ryan Reynolds might have an almost squeaky clean image in Hollywood so far, but he's not always the good guy, likable character he always portrays in his movies. Of course, it's understandable, given that actors are also humans who have the same feelings as we do and are prone to having bad days just like everyone else. But to have your co-star call you out publicly on how you treated him on set is something else. According to TJ Miller, he noticed changes in Ryan Reynolds after the first Deadpool movie blew up.
So I love him as a comedian, but I think after he got super, super famous from the first Deadpool, then things kind of changed.
He explained that they had no issues when they filmed the first installment of the franchise. Ryan Reynolds was easygoing, interesting, and friendly. But his ego came to the fore when he became a big celebrity, moving up the ranks to A-list status. Their feud actually started in the second installment of the franchise, where he would throw his newfound weight about. I got along with him a lot better on the first Deadpool because he wasn't a huge movie star. According to TJ Miller, Ryan's attitude on set was so nauseating that he didn't want to work with him again. He even went as far as saying that he wasn't going to work on the third installment of the movie because he didn't want to do the same thing for 5 or 10 years.
I don't really think you should do something for more than 5 years. I think it's weird to just go back and play Weasel like
Yeah.
10 years later or
So
something
more
like
than
that.
he's been-
Miller told the host that he wouldn't act in Deadpool even if the producers offered him 3 times the amount he was given for the first installment. I would not have done Deadpool 3 if they came to me and were like, we want you to do Deadpool 3 and we're going to pay you twice as much. Many wondered what kind of toxic character Ryan Reynolds would have had to deserve such words from TJ Miller. Some didn't believe Miller's words as they knew Ryan to be a great guy, barring a few past incidents. So they were shocked. However, one thing we know about the entertainment industry is that it is filled with smoke and mirrors. Nothing is for real. All that we see is what the elite want us to see. The rainbows and lollipops image of Tinseltown is a facade, hiding a slew of dirty secrets that would make anyone puke. When word got to Ryan about Miller's complaints, the actor issued an apology, stating that it wasn't his intention to belittle his co-star. Reynolds' apology was also reported by Miller, who claimed that the movie star reached out to him privately.
Has Ryan Reynolds reached out to you because of your comments?
But I bet not. I heard he's very mean.
Yeah, he has.
Oh.
It was really cool. He emailed me the next day.
It was very cool for him to say, hey, I just heard on the show that you were upset about this. And I kind of said, I'm not, and then we sort of just hashed it out really quickly. However, it seemed Reynolds' apology was just a face-saving measure to keep his almost pristine public image intact. According to unconfirmed sources, Reynolds was allegedly hurt by Miller's exposition and thus plotted his downfall. TJ Miller found work difficult to come by in the industry. Major Hollywood studios refused to work with him despite his obvious talents. They felt that he had a loose mouth that could easily bring tension between him and his co-stars. TJ Miller's career took a nosedive from there, as a found work few and far between. Miller was paying for exposing Reynolds' abrasive and crude character. However, fans of Reynolds came to his defense, insisting that the actor had nothing to do with Miller's misfortune. They explained that the comedian brought everything on himself by claiming that he wasn't going to work on Deadpool 3 just because he didn't get along well with Reynolds. In their opinion, Miller should have informed the producers or movie directors if he thought that his co-star was being disrespectful. Better still, they could have trashed the issue privately without their fans hearing a whiff of what transpired on the set of Deadpool. Reynolds' fans lauded his apology, claiming that he might have done the same if Miller had come to inform him privately. Thus, Miller's woes were of his own making, and Ryan Reynolds had nothing to do with them. However, Miller's fans claim that Reynolds was indeed the orchestrator of their idol's downfall. They then made some startling revelations that didn't make sense and seemed outrageous at first, but after carefully considering it, it appears they have a point. According to them, Reynolds was behind the SA allegations leveled against Miller a few years ago after shooting wrapped up for Deadpool.
Silicon Valley actor TJ Miller has been accused of Miller's accuser spoke to the Daily Beast anonymously and said the actor both physically and at her while they were both attending George Washington University.
The woman, who wished to remain anonymous, claimed that the actor and comedian SA'd her while he was a student at George Washington University. Speaking to the Daily Beast, the woman claimed that the two were in an S relationship, but while they engaged in their passionate desires, the actor did things to her without her permission. She said, "He just tried a lot of things without asking me, and at no point asked me if I was all right," the woman says. "He choked me and I kept staring at his face, hoping he would see that I was afraid and that he would stop. I couldn't say anything." She also alleges that while fooling around with Miller, he started violently shaking her and then punched her in the mouth. The woman claims she awoke with a swollen lip and a fractured tooth. The woman said she reported the incident to the student court at the time, and they dealt with the issue. Unsurprisingly, the actor denied all the allegations leveled against him. He posted a photo of him hugging his wife, Kate Gorney, on Instagram, along with a lengthy message explaining his side of the story. She was asked to leave our university comedy group because of worrisome and disturbing behavior, which angered her immensely, the statement reads. She then became fixated on our relationship and began telling people around campus, "I'm going to destroy them, and I'm going to ruin him." Miller claims that the woman was taking advantage of the Me Too movement, which was then at its peak, to perpetrate her agenda. Sadly, she is now using the current climate to bandwagon and launch these false accusations again. It is unfortunate that she is choosing this route, as it undermines the important movement to make women feel safe coming forward about legitimate claims against real known predators. Miller re-emphasized his commitment to encourage women who have been essayed in the past to share their experiences and expose the perpetrators, but he wouldn't condone liars who want to take advantage of a serious movement to further their agenda. "We stand together and will not allow this person to take advantage of a serious movement toward gender equality by allowing her to use this moment to muddy the water with an unrelated personal agenda." He also slammed reporters who allowed people to use their media to spin lies, claiming that it was his obligation to stop that evil trend. "We feel we all have an obligation now more than ever to prevent people from using reporters to spin lies into headlines and focus instead on what is real." While Miller did his very best to deny the allegations, several people came forward to corroborate what the woman said. One of them was her roommate, Katie Duffy, who claimed that the victim confided in her in the aftermath of the incident. She also told reporters that she testified on behalf of the victim when the issue went before the student court at the university. Katie claimed that at the time that the incident allegedly took place, she heard loud noises from the woman's room, which prompted her to knock on the door and check up on her roommate. Kate said, "The victim did indicate she was okay. Whatever response she gave, we felt we didn't have to intervene further, at least at the time," Duffy says. "Looking back, I wish we had done more to intervene, but we didn't know what was going on." Kate alleged that the following day, when she saw the victim's physical appearance, she was deeply concerned. It looked like she had been battered the previous night during their escapade. "She looked like she had been through a rough night. I recall seeing bruises," she notes. One roommate asked if she wanted to go to the police. Others offered to take her to the hospital, given how she looked. Even with witnesses coming forward to corroborate the SA allegations, fans of TJ Miller defended their idol to the hilt. They questioned why the woman chose to expose the actor at that time when the incident happened years ago. According to them, when the student court didn't hand them the justice they deserved, they could have sought redress at a legally constituted court or even gone to the police. Yet, they had to wait until Miller became a global star before dragging his name in the mud. They suspected that there was an agenda at play, and that agenda was being perpetrated by Ryan Reynolds because Miller was a good man in their eyes. They pulled up a statement the comedian had made a few years prior, encouraging victims of SA to open up and expose their perpetrators. The statement read, "There needs to be a shift in culture," he conceded. "It's good that abuses are coming to light, but it's also dampening everybody's spirit because it's just like more and more horribleness." Now, you may not know this, but this isn't the first time Ryan Reynolds has had issues with his co-star on a movie set. During the filming of Blade: Trinity in 2004, Reynolds clashed with his fellow actor Wesley Snipes due to the differences in approach to interpreting a character.
I heard Wesley Snipes talking about a fourth movie, coming back into the game,
Yeah.
and I was wondering, would you be interested to do another one, to be back as Hannibal King, or why?
No.
The feud was so bad that many fans thought the two wouldn't work together again until Snipes' appearance in the recent Deadpool movie. Wesley Snipes was a method actor, which meant he was always in character, whether the cameras were rolling or not. Reynolds, on the other hand, only got into character when the cameras were on, leading to tension between the actors both on and off the set. Reynolds thought that Wesley was uptight and too serious on set, while Snipes felt that Reynolds was too playful. Reynolds told journalists, "My personality is the polar opposite of Wesley. I never met Wesley, I only met Blade, and he is a method actor." This clash in acting styles was widely reported in the media, escalating the tension between the two. Some bloggers claim that the two actors had resorted to fisticuffs just because they weren't getting along on set. However, Reynolds thinks that all that was blown out of proportion. He explained that though he wasn't a big fan of method acting, he could appreciate why actors like Snipes would undergo such rigorous discipline. He said, "It's always overblown. Say what you want about that style of acting. I have the utmost respect for whatever it takes to get through this process. We all say that these actors make so much money, and they live such a life of leisure and privilege, but that is a vulnerable process. Stepping onto the set every day and performing in front of 110 judgmental souls. So whatever it takes for him or anyone else to get through that in a way that is artistically fulfilling to them, I have the utmost respect for." In fact, Reynolds tried several times to make Wesley break character sometimes on screen, but the stoic actor remained resolute. He mentioned a few scenes where he tried to get Wesley to connect with his inner child and let himself loose, but the actor only gave him a stern look. "There's a moment in the movie where I look up at Jessica and I swear to God, I didn't even know the cameras were rolling anymore, and I say, 'He hates me, doesn't he?' And she's like, 'Yeah, I'm just saying this about my relationship as Ryan Reynolds to this guy, and it works.' The ad-libs are just born of that." He also recalled another moment when he unsuccessfully tried to rile up the action star. There's another one where I do a dime store psychoanalysis of him where I say, you ever thought about sitting down and talking with someone, getting in touch with your inner child, and also you might want to try blinking once in a while. He just looks at me like he's going to turn me into a pulp. Wesley Snipes himself has not actually spoken about the incident with Ryan Reynolds. However, what he has vehemently denied is the rumor that he got so angry with the director of Blade, Trinity, that he strangled the hapless man on set. The rumor stemmed from the perception that Wesley was a difficult man to work with. He debunked the rumor, explaining that he would be in prison by now if the hearsay was true. Let me tell you one thing. If I had tried to strangle David Goyer, you probably wouldn't be talking to me now. A black guy with muscles strangling the director of a movie is going to jail, I guarantee you. The veteran actor explained that he didn't have to resort to violence to express his displeasure at whatever was happening on set. He always had the power to voice his concerns without stooping so low to put his hands on anyone's neck. I remind you that I was one of the executive producers of the project. I had contractual director approval. I was not just the actor for hire. I had authority to say, to dictate, to decide. This was a hard concept for a lot of people to wrap their heads around. However, many fans thought that Wesley was really beating about the bush concerning his alleged feud with Reynolds. He might not have laid his hands on Goyer, but he probably was annoyed at Ryan's antics and wished he could beat the hell out of him. However, that wouldn't augur well for his career. So he allegedly did the next worst thing, which was to badmouth Snipes to other industry executives. This explains why Wesley Snipes found major acting roles difficult to come by after his stint with the Blade franchise. The action star gradually disappeared from our screens as film studios wouldn't cast him and TV studios wouldn't interview him. Snipes' global appeal was given a lifeline when he starred in The Expendables, but it did little to revive his career. Reynolds had allegedly dealt a horrible blow that Snipes found it hard to recover from. If only he had played Reynolds' game, Snipes would probably be one of the most sought-after actors in the country. Interestingly, the two would unite in the latest version of Deadpool. This time, their on-screen chemistry appeared excellent, but we can't say much about their off-screen interactions. Given how Reynolds' outspokenness, it's safe to assume that the two might have buried the hatchet and moved on. Both Wesley and TJ Miller tried to give the world a sneak peek of what Ryan Reynolds was made of, but we were too busy to note. Fans love Ryan Reynolds, especially his apparent chemistry with his wife on social media. The husband and wife have been giving couple goals since they began dating and their subsequent wedding over a decade ago. Many fans feel that Reynolds is a super smart, funny dude who manages to interpret his characters very well. To them, the action star can do no wrong. However, TJ Miller and Wesley Snipes can't just be wrong, especially when they starred in different movies at different points in time. If they were in the same movie, then fans might conclude that both Miller and Snipes colluded to drag Reynolds' name through the mud. Both appeared in different movies and at different times, but they have similar experiences with the actor, which somewhat gives us a fair idea of who he is. From the look of things, Reynolds might be two-faced. What he portrays on camera is different from who he really is. Interestingly, Tinseltown has no shortage of such individuals. We've heard countless stories of people who appear all nice and smiley when the cameras are rolling but turn into vicious, ravenous beasts when the lights are off. We've seen the likes of Diddy, R. Kelly, Harvey Weinstein, Jeffrey Epstein, and Bill Cosby, who have been accused of various crimes, with some being sentenced to prison. So it isn't surprising that such a lovable character like Ryan Reynolds displays certain dislikable character traits. Of course, we can't rule out the fact that all these feuds might not be as they seem and might have been blown out of proportion, TJ Miller said. We all know how the media likes to sensationalize stories to attract both eyes and ears. There have been a few incidents when both fans and the media have instigated feuds and quarrels where there were none. So it is likely the same thing is happening here. After all, actors are humans just like everyone else and might not necessarily get along well, which is perfectly fine. However, milking a thorny, spicy relationship for the sake of sensationalism appears to be a media specialty, so fans shouldn't be surprised if all the supposed brouhaha between the actors is much ado about nothing. Even if the supposed feuds are real, one thing worth noting is that all parties have purportedly buried the hatchet and moved on. However, one thing is certain, fans have an idea of the kind of person Ryan Reynolds is and how vindictive he can be towards his fellow actors. At least they know that he can allegedly hamper the career paths of his supposed enemies when he wants to, all thanks to TJ Miller. For now, we cross our fingers and hope that the actor has turned a new leaf. We hope that he doesn't end up like Oprah and Tyler Perry, who have similar vindictive allegations hanging around their necks. This draws the curtains on today's episode. Thanks for watching.